Hello everyone, my name is Abhishek and welcome back to my channel. So today we are at day 10 of our complete DevOps course. So for somebody who hasn't watched our previous videos, day 0 to day 9, I would highly recommend you to go back and watch those videos because they have some fundamental concepts of DevOps. And if you want to continue our DevOps videos, which we are going to do from day 0 to day 45, please watch those videos and come back to this so that you have a better understanding of what we are going to talk today. Perfect. So firstly, what is Git branching strategy? If you have given any interviews previously on DevOps, or if you are going through top 50 DevOps questions or top 20 DevOps interview questions on any website, I'm pretty sure most of them would have Git branching strategy as one of their interview questions. Because for any organization, what is primary goal? The primary goal is to ensure that the customer gets releases on time. That is, customer gets new features on time. Let's say you want to deliver code to customer every 2 months or every 3 months. Even if you're using products like Amazon or Flipkart, the main goal would be to keep the customers happy and deliver releases with new changes frequently. It can be 1 month, it can be 15 days, 2 months, but you have to keep your releases very prompt. So for that, it is very important to have a proper branching strategy or to have a efficient branching strategy. What we will do today is we will try to understand branching strategy theoretically as well as practically. So theoretically, I'm going to explain you branching strategy, but practically, I'll also show you a very popular project. I haven't even mentioned that in the community tab that we are going to look into this project, but the project that we are going to talk about is Kubernetes. Okay, so Kubernetes is a open source GitHub, open source project that is hosted on GitHub. And one of the great reasons why I'm choosing this for branching strategy topic is Kubernetes has close to 3,300 contributors. So that is more for even if you are working in your current team, current organization for a Git repository or for a source code repository. I don't think many people would have this number of contributors. So that's why if we take a look at Kubernetes and how they are ensuring that every 3 months they are delivering a new Kubernetes version to us. So how are they actually doing it with so many contributions, with so many fixes, so many features? So how are they doing it? So that's why I'll practically show you the Kubernetes GitHub repository and let's understand their branching strategy. You can also use these branching strategies as part of your personal development projects and put it in your resume and explain the same things to your interviewer. Whenever you're giving interview as well. Perfect. So now without wasting any time, let me quickly share a new screen and explain you theoretically what is branching strategy. So first of all, before we go there, what is a branch? Okay, it might be a simple thing, but some of our viewers do not understand what is a branch. So let me explain you what is a branch before we understand or jump into branching strategy. Branch is nothing but it's a separation, you know. So let's say you have existing code in GitHub, you are building a simple calculator application. Okay. So you have your calculator application ready and you want to introduce new changes to your calculator, not just simple changes, but you want to introduce some breaking changes. Let's say this is just a calculator with addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division functionality. And you want to ensure that you add version 2 of your calculator, which also has some good features like percentage. It has some advanced calculator capabilities. So in such cases, instead of making the changes directly to your existing branch, that is by default master or main branches, what you will do is you will create a new branch. You can call it as a V2 branch. Some people call it as feature calculator or feature V2 or feature advanced calculator. And you can start development onto this new branch, test this new code. And once you are confident that that your testing is good and now you can deliver this v1 plus v2 to the customer or existing functionality plus new functionality to the customer, you'll simply merge these changes to the existing functionality. And what you will do is you can delete this one. Okay, so that's why it's just a separation which can eventually go away, but why you are creating a branch is to just make sure that any new changes, like the huge changes or breaking changes that you are adding to your existing application, is not affecting the existing functionality. For example, let's say, let's take a very popular thing like Uber. Okay, let's say Uber is an application, they were only supporting cabs. Okay, but one day what Uber said that is to get more traction, or is to get many customers, they want to introduce something called as bikes. Okay, so they want to add Uber bikes. So this cabs, it was working fine and many customers were already using the cabs functionality. Now this is already given to the customer. So the DevOps people at Uber or the developers at Uber were not confident, that if the bikes functionality is introduced, will it affect the application that we deliver to the customer? So what usually they do is they create a new branch for bikes, and let's say there are 5 to 6 developers working on this bikes functionality. They would continue their application testing, and once they are confident, they will add this thing to the existing Uber application, and finally the new Uber is delivered to the customer, and this previous branch that we created gets deleted. Okay, so this is a concept, or this is the reason why we create branches in Git. Okay, I think now we understood about branches. Let's quickly jump on to see what is a good branching strategy. Perfect. We'll take the same example, calculator. Okay, let's say you have a functionality called calculator. Okay, and in the calculator, okay, uh, this is the existing code base. Let's say today you are on okay, 15th Jan, for example. My bad. So 15th Jan, this is the code base. Probably let's say this is your GitHub repository. Okay, so this is your change, and what you have done is you have started developing this calculator branch with some fixes. So this is delivered to customer, and your customer is saying that there are some issues. So every day you start working on this and you create more and more commits on this existing GitHub repository. But all of a sudden, okay, there are 2 to 3 developers, like the same example that we have taken. Okay, what they have decided is they want to add new features to this existing calculator application. So instead of giving this same branch, because this is a new feature and this is a very big feature, you don't know when this feature will be completed, if it will affect the existing branch or not, or will it cause any problems to the existing branch. So that's why what we do is we create a new branch from here. Okay, and we will call this branch as feature, let's say XYZ. Okay, or feature percentage. So you created this feature branch and they kept on working. Okay, so this is the reason why we use feature branches. And after that, whenever you are very confident that this feature branch is doing good, on that specific day, once your testing is done and everything, you'll merge this feature branch into the existing branch, that is main or master branch. Okay, so similarly, there will be multiple people in your organization, there will be multiple requests, like, so for that reason you might create a number of feature branches, right? So this is feature percentage. Similarly, you might have a feature called as feature exponential, or any calculator functionality, right? So for that same reason, you have multiple feature branches in an organization, and these feature branches will eventually be added back to your master branch. Okay, so this is the concept of feature branches. Why we create feature branches? For any new feature that you are working on existing organization, you create a feature branch. If this feature is a big feature, or if this feature has some breaking changes, you create a feature branch, and you ask your developers to collaborate on this new feature branch, and whenever they are confident, they can get these changes back to your original branch, that is main or the master branch. Fine. So what have we discussed till now? We talked about two branches. One is master or the main branch, and then we talked about another branches which are called as feature branches. Now we will talk about release branches. Okay, so what is a release branch? So any application, let's take your DevOps applications like Jenkins or Kubernetes or even this calculator application, they have to be delivered to the customers, right? So to deliver to the customers, what we usually do is we, instead of building the application from master, we usually build the applications from release branches. Let's say you want to you are very satisfied with your application that the what is this called, like let's say your exponent branch, your percentage branch, and your other branches are doing very well with your testing, and now you want to deliver your code to the customer. So usually what you do here is you create a release branch, okay, and you deliver this release branch to your customer. I mean, you build from this release branch and you ship this release branch to your customer. Why you will do from a release branch and why not from master is because master is usually kept for active development. Okay, so there can be people who actively work on master, you know. You don't, while you are testing the release branch, or you are making you're running some end-to-end tests or functionality tests on your release branch, you don't want somebody to actively get new changes onto this release branch, because you are testing it and you want to cut this. At this point you want to say that, okay, till now what are the changes are there that are very fine, and I want to deliver these changes to the customer. So you don't want any new changes to go into this release branch. So that's why you create a release branch. You say that, okay, so the development on this branch is done. Now if this branch is only there for testing and to deliver to the customer, so that's why you create a release branch, you deliver this to the customer, and again the same process repeats. Right, again people actively work on master, they create new feature branches, and once their feature branches are confident, they merge them to the master. And once you decide that, okay, all the features, fixes, and everything is done for the release, you create a release branch, and from the release branch you ship the product to the customer. So this is about master branch, feature branch, and release branches. Okay, now let's try to understand this with the Kubernetes. Kubernetes also uses the same model. So if I probably show you practically, you might understand that in a much better way. So that's why let me stop sharing here, share my GitHub screen. So this is my GitHub screen. So I'm sharing this to you. Let's see what Kubernetes is doing. So Kubernetes is also doing the same thing. So if you go to GitHub Kubernetes/Kubernetes, you see that this is a Kubernetes official repository. It has master branch where people are actively working on this master branch. After that, you have, you know, bunch of branches here. That's called feature rate limiting, feature server side apply, feature workload GA. So what are these branches? The same things that I just mentioned you. In our calculator examples, this can be feature percentage, feature exponent, feature dividend, whatever are the new features that you want to add to your calculator functionality. So 10 developers might be working on this, 10 developers might be working on this, 20 developers might be working on this. So whenever they are confident that their changes are good, what they will do is they'll get these changes to back to the master branch. They'll merge them to the master branch. And once they do it, they can probably delete these branches. And eventually, when all the changes, fixes, and everything went into this branch, and let's say Kubernetes want to do a new release on January, or sorry, we are already in Jan. So let's say Kubernetes want to do the new release in April. So during that time, they'll create a new branch called release 1.27. Right now it is release 1.26. So a new branch will be created called release 1.27. And from then, any active development will only go to the master branch. And from the release branch, you will start your testing, end-to-end testing, functionality testing, and everything. And that release to 1.27 is the code that will go to your customer. So that's why you have master branch, feature branches, and release branches. Sometimes you also have hotfix branches. Let's say a customer is getting a very critical issue on the production and you want to deliver that code, you want to fix that code very immediately and you want to give it to the customer. So in such cases, what you will do is you will create feature branches. Sorry, you will create hotfix branches, and this hotfix branch changes are like they can be very quick changes. Like this branch can live for 1 day, 2 days, or very quick. You make your changes, you ensure that it is working fine, test it again, you deliver that hotfix branches to the master as well as release branch, and you ship the release branch code to your customer. So these are the 4 branches, and this is a very popular branching strategy. Even you can explain to your interviews. So you have a master branch, feature branches, release branches, and hotfix branches. One tricky thing is Whenever you are making any changes to your hotfix branches, it should go both into your master branch as well as your release branches, because end of the day, the code is shipped from release branches and master is something that has to be kept up to date. So any branch changes, whether it's feature branch, hotfix branches, any changes that you're making to these branches, or even release branch in some cases, any changes that you're making to these branches, they should be merged back to the master, because master or main is something that always should be kept up to date. Okay, even if you look into our visual representation that I just showed you. Okay, what I was telling you was any branches like the feature branch or the diagram I just showed you, if you would have watched it carefully, what we were doing is everything that I create. Okay, let's say this is master. Okay, so all the branch changes, whether it is feature branch, whether it is, okay, let's say you have created a feature branch here. Okay, and you have done multiple features. What I'm telling you is eventually any branch changes should go to master, whether it is a feature branch, whether you are talking about release branches. Okay, all of these changes should be cascaded back to your master, and master is something that should be always up to date. So for somebody to refer to a latest version of your application, they will only go to master and see if the master branch has latest code changes or not. And release always happens from which branch? Release always happens from your release branches. Okay, that's why these branches are called as release branches. I hope this is clear. And if it is still not clear, we can again take a practical example and see. Let's call a application called Uber. Okay, let's assume that we are a 5 years back, and what Uber was usually doing then was they were typically a cab application. Okay, they only had cab. Let's say this repository is hosted on GitHub. Okay, let's say Uber source code is on GitHub, and they were a cab application, and they have like all of these changes in their cab application. Someday the product owner or the product manager said that, okay, we are doing too good with the cabs, but how about we also uh, enhance Uber to a bike application? So what they have done is, from this point, when they have decided that Uber will also do bikes, so they have created a new branch called, what this branch will be called? Feature bikes. So they created a new branch called feature bikes. They kept on working. And after 10, 15 days or 1 month or 2 months, they were very confident that, okay, even if I merge these changes, till then active development will be going on cabs, because cabs is something that they have been always doing, and they want their customers to be happy with all the fixes and all. So that's why they enhance the cab up, they keep enhancing the cab application, while the feature bikes, where other developers are working, they are pretty confident now that, okay, all the features that we have done is making sure that the features bike is working fine. And even if we merge these changes into your existing repository, nothing will happen. So both cabs and bikes will work fine. So then they will merge these changes back. Okay, and after that you can delete this feature bikes branch. Perfect. And after some time again, what has happened? Feature bikes is working fine, feature cab is working fine. Again the product manager came and said that, very cool, now let's introduce a new feature called intercity. Okay, so Uber will also operate not just in one city, but it will also operate in different cities. Like it can go from one city to the other city. What we'll again do, you'll create a new branch here, and you will call this branch as feature underscore intercity. Perfect. And you will start your development again on this branch. And once you're confident, you'll again get these changes back onto your master branch. After 3 months or 6 months, what Uber has said that, okay, we are pretty cool. Let's say we are currently on version 2, and Uber says that, okay, version 2 is very doing very fine. And now that we have to deliver our new code to the customer, what Uber will do is, using the master branch, what they'll do is they'll create a new branch here. After 3 months or 6 months, what they'll do is they'll create a new branch till from the latest of master, and this branch will be called as release. Let's say they're on V2, this branch will be called as release V3. And on the release V3, they'll perform all the testing and everything, and they will ship this new version to the customer. Perfect. So this is how branching strategy works on any organization, right? I hope you understood the topic. I hope I have cleared doubts regarding branching strategy. So what can be your popular questions? Apart from feature branch, release branches, and the trunk or master or the main branch, what is the other branch that is quite commonly used? It's called as a bug fix branch or hot fix branch. So why I did not show you hot fix branch? Because hot fix branches are very short lived projects. So whenever there is customer version is released called v3, and after 3 days some user reported that there is a bug in the production. So what you have to usually do is you create a new branch called a hot fix branch, and this hot fix branch will try to address the changes that customer required, and this will be merged to all the branches. It will be merged to master, it will be merged to all the release branches that we are supporting. Question number 2: from which branch do you usually perform releases? Of course, the name itself says it will be a release branch. Question number 3: what is a feature branch? So a feature branch is nothing but whenever some people want to introduce new breaking changes to your existing functionality, you create feature branches. And what is the branch that always is updated and up to date? It's called as your master, trunk, or main branch. Perfect. So this is about branching strategy. We also looked into the Kubernetes project. We tried to understand this with basic example like Uber. What you can also do is go to any open source repositories, go to Docker, go to Kubernetes, go to Istio, go to Jenkins, or any such repositories, and see their code base, see how they are doing branching strategy. Most of the times this is the process, and this is a good practice which is followed across multiple organizations. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you have any questions, post that in the comment section. I'll try to explain one more time, or through LinkedIn, or you can message me on YouTube comments. I'll try to reply to your questions. And also, if you have somebody who is trying to learn DevOps, or who is looking for some good content around DevOps, please try to share our videos with your friends or any persons who are looking for these videos. That would be more than helpful. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye everyone.